everyone, how are you? Here's the screen that you either love to hate or love to love, knowing that I'm going to be babbling, and maybe it'll put you to sleep, maybe not, but those of you who know me know that I am old. I have no talent in any of this, and I am just a little bit overly educated and have maybe one too many opinions, maybe go down one too many rabbit holes, and no one around here is going to listen to it. Just literally, I just walked by the Hubs, heard him downstairs doing something. I said, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I have to go Watts." And he understood me perfectly. It's, the Wattsing has become a verb, because even, let's say, last month, we were at an event, and I bent the ear of a retired sheriff in the state of Wisconsin. So what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to go Watts at him. I'm going to be like, "Do you know anything about Dodge Correctional Facility? What do you know about Watts? What do you..." He looked at me like I had 3 eyeballs. He'd never heard of a Watts. And he had actually done work in Dodge Correctional Facility. He told me that that's mainly a correctional facility where they have people who are just there temporarily, going like for placement to go other places. So it surprises me that he is there. Daryl Brooks is there too. You know who you are, who just told me that too. And somebody else who's oh God, I think Stephen Avery's there too. So, well, it may be a place where they put them, well, they're still deciding to go, maybe in the past or whenever. It's not one it's not a Supermax or anything like that. It's a very low level one, which is why I'm surprised that Daryl Brooks is there. He's the parade killer, the one who was screaming at the judge. You may recall his endearing personality, if you will. But this retired sheriff had never heard of the Watts. This is not uncommon. It seems like those of us on the YouTube know about the Watts. And I think that's because those of us who questioned the narrative wanted a place to go and share or explore those ideas. That's how it happened for me. That's how my channel started. Many of you who have been with me since day one, right before I started my actual channel, know that I started asking these questions because the looks on the girls' faces and the girls' eyes did not match the narrative of this wonderfully happy family. Not at all. So I started asking questions, and as soon as I got questions, I was told what a crazy person I was, and that, I needed to, go and get my head checked. How dare I question something, and something so beautiful and precious? I'm going, but look at these girls. And that's where, you know who you are, remembers my very first video that I did. I took that picture of the People magazine and said, what would happen if I was just turning the pages of this magazine and saw Bella? Would I think she's a little girl who was in the most perfect family known to mankind, and her daddy just decided one day that he wanted to play home with a new mommy, and tragically unalived her sister and her mother, and possibly her brother? Well, it would have been her brother. But you all know, watching my channel, all the things I say. No, you would look at that girl and you would think that she's in that magazine for many different reasons. The haircuts alone. She began to look very sickly because her mother told her she was sickly. When she was not told she was sickly, she was a vibrant, fun-loving, happy, jumping, joyful child. But she also was a people pleaser, just like her father. and did everything to please her mother. So if you're a shiner listening and you've gotten to this point and you're taking notes to go and tell mommy on me, I've heard rumblings all around that somebody's going and telling mommy on me. Those of you who are getting a chuckle out of that. And I have no problem with that person that may or may not be in your mind. I don't like having any problems with any creators, but I do have a problem when other creators are insinuating that people should come to me and try to get my channel removed. I just had a bunch of reports trying to get my discovery pulled, and thankfully YouTube honored it. They took down Discovery Piece 1, and then I won the appeal on that. But as you all know, I've still lost monetization. So the typical shiners get to go to the other channels, and then they are told to accuse other people of profiting off of this. And as you all know, I lost monetization due to mass reporting a month ago, and so my earnings as they were stopped is 0.2 cents. So I can't even say that I'm putting my 2 cents in because it's 0.2 cents. So I don't make money. I'm not seeking fame. These shiners don't know what to do with me. So they're running to mommy trying to tell her on me and running to tell on me. So if you've made it this far, shiners, go to the Reddit page that you're reporting that you're trying to be so mad because you probably got kicked out of it. But use your alt. Go to the Reddit page right now and see the message that I have sent you with the picture of Sweet Bella. Explain that. Reference it when you're telling me what a piece of whatever. You know, I am so grateful that those of you who are taking the time to write me great comments are doing so, because the reality of the situation right now is that other creators who have built their channels on conflict, content by conflict, conflict for content, are coming to my channel. And it will be a barrage of things when I wake up, or, let's say that, my phone is flashing in the middle of the night. And I pick it up. Well, what is the first thing going to be? It's not going to be a nice comment, because right now I've got 10 people telling me that, I get off on bashing the dead and I'm bashing dead children and all of the things that the shiners say. And so if it wasn't for all of you writing the really amazing comments and taking the time to like, subscribe, share, and talk to me, I would not be able to stand and continue to tell the truth, which is what they want. They have continued to silence every single person who has spoken like me in the past. They get their channels pulled, and they love it. That's the de-evolution of our society and jurisprudence at its very definition. While we asked questions, those who believed the headlines, that the world is just that simple, that the woman must make the sandwich just right, because if she doesn't, that man just might take her and the kids out one day, because men fundamentally are just dumb monsters at the core, right? That's what they want you to believe. And isn't that a little bit patriarchal? Shouldn't we be a little bit concerned about who's pushing this narrative? Shouldn't we be a little bit concerned that there are shining light examples of channels who are getting 150,000 views on a video, making money off of people they don't know? You can't come and tell me that I'm trying to get rich when you can see the consistent growth that I have earned by building my community of a group of people who work hard to find the truth. When people like that are shining examples of making money and profiting off of a crime from strangers, those people may think like I do, but they're just playing the game and making a lot of money. Have you ever thought about that? Now, the channel that I love, and when I started asking questions, I listen to a lot. It's this channel, I Swear Kimberly, and I have her up. And I don't know if she's still creating or not. I know that she was having some problems and she stopped, but she's freaking hilarious. Now, she hates Watts with a passion. So her channel, you can just laugh because the way that she explains the concepts and her running dialogue of all of the insults that she calls Watts are just humorous. And so her and I may not agree on everything, but I have complete respect for this creator. There's somebody in the Reddit thread who is so articulate and put out their argument, and they articulated so beautifully that I bowed down. I was like, you're amazing. You write beautifully. Your concepts are there. Wish you were on my line of thinking here, but you're not. And so, hey, just saying touche. So I don't mind when people have their viewpoints that are different, but for people to continue to try to polarize this issue, that is a group of people who are not reflective of our mainline thinking. Like I say, a lot of people, I could, go next door and they wouldn't know what the Watts are. I could probably go down 10 doors and no one would know what the Watts are. Maybe the 12th would. Not a popular subject. And then certainly nobody knows about all of the drama in and under it. Now we know that there were some highly dramatic, controversial YouTube channels that took on the Watts conversation. And maybe that's to blame, and there's still leftover drama and hurt feelings from that. So I can say there is definitely some of that. But what the problem is that right now there are very simple-minded, smooth-brained individuals. For those of you who don't understand that, let me put it this way. There's black and there's white. Headlines are literally, from newspaper, magazines, black and white. You have a headline, black and white. In between black and white, what happens when black and white merge? Gray. And I have said that is where the truth is. It is between that headline. It is between that black and white. It is in that gray. And what do we customarily think of gray? We think of gray matter because gray matters most. Gray matter is your brain. Your brain is comprised of gray matter. Now, in the shiners, the haters who want to polarize this as a black and white issue, they don't have the lines in their brains. A well-developed brain has lots of grooves in it, and the less developed brains are very smooth. And so, like, you could look at our brains here, those of us who are smart, and say, our brains are like the headlines, and then there's a black line, there's a white line. Oh, wow, it's gray matter. Look at those black lines. No, not really black because it's all gray, but you know what I'm saying? We use our gray matter. And these smooth-brained individuals, they don't get it. Why are they here? Because they have frustration in their life somewhere else. So they want to fight. And there's a lot of people who get off on this. And for every shiner that writes me a comment, I go and I click on their profile because I think maybe they're just having a bipolar moment. So what I can do is I click on and it'll show every comment they've made on my channel. I've had a couple, where it's like they were writing on somebody else's channel and they accidentally wrote on mine. Like if they've really been a supporter and they put something bizarre, I'll take a minute and be like, can you expound on this? I'm like, oh wait, that wasn't meant for you. Oh, okay, no problem. Gotcha. Okay. We've got that going on. But for the most of them, you'll see that they've never been to my channel before. And they were directed to by their mummy or whoever shined them over. And they shined a light on my channel, and they went to several of my videos, didn't even make it into the 30-second mark, and just wrote, oh my God, you're disgusting. Get a life. What is wrong with you? You bash children. You're sick. You're disgusting. Okay, can you expound upon that? So you'll see them write that, and And then they'll be like, oh, disgusting. Yeah. Or they'll say something about my title. Like, or they'll say, yeah, those girls never had a chance. Yeah, because their father did this to them, blah, blah, blah. And then you will have the ones who maybe are in a supervisory role in the rumblings or shinings, and they come over and they have a direct question. And they're going to ask me a very simple question with their black and white thinking. And they're going to say, are you saying that CW did not unalive his children? Or they'll say, are you saying SW unalived her children? They'll be just very blunt like that. Okay, I know what they're doing. They're sent here. They are Gold Star members of the Grand Shiner and the Grand Shiner Poobah or whatever. Somebody said I wasn't saying it right, but whatever. I'm just making this up. I'm making up a whole Shiner Lodge that has a Grand Poobah. Okay, so just go with me. They're trying to very much polarize and put those of us on one side or the other. And I then look at their profile pictures and it'll be some weird animal, some weird looking kid, or a weird looking person looking way too close into the camera. You know what I'm talking about. Like they will have attempted a selfie, but they'll have put the camera to their, I don't know what, but they'll put it up real close to their eye, and 90% of the time they have 80s eyeliner that's all nasty, maybe been on for 4 to 5 days, and it's old eyeliner, new eyeliner, showered eyeliner, crusted eyeliner, and they'll be looking straight at you, and you can see that there's some pores, and get this weird freaking not a full picture of a person, weird kid, weird animal, but not good, well-maintained animal. This one was like this. It was this room, and you could just tell it was a hoarder person, and they had all these bins with rats in them, they were a rat hoarder, telling me that I need to get a life. So the internet has made this beautiful concept. Remember when you used to get insulted and your mom or whoever would say, consider the source, honey. That's what I do. So when I get these weird ass things, I look at it. I'm like, oh my God. And then I always want to say, hey, maybe you have done as much or more research as me, and I have missed something in my over 1,000 hours of climbing in and out of this rabbit hole, back and forth, sideways, and I missed something, and maybe your research can show me where I have erred in my ways. So let me go look at your research, asshole. And I will look, and what do you know? They're not a creator, but they may have been on the platform for 12 years. It's really weird. It's not like these ones are just making throwaway profiles to just go and harass you. That happens when I cover my KJ stuff. It'll be a bunch of new throwaway channels that you can tell are, either her or one of her followers or Toad, somebody. You can tell that these are throwaway profiles. Not with this crowd. And then you can see which channels they subscribe to. And 99% of the time, I can tell you the top 2 that they're going to follow. And it's really, really funny because, especially shining light on people who make a lot of money. Let's see how much Shining Light makes. When you get 158,000 views per video that you're recycling from Shanann's Facebook, and you didn't even know her, but you sit there and you're like, oh God, sweet Shanann, she just was trying so hard, and you just gotta give it to the girl. I mean, she was doing everything she could, and those girls, they were just, she did the best she could, but those girls, they were so sick, and come on, how much money are you making? So before you waddle your smooth-brained, shining rhesus monkey butts over to my side. Just know that when you come at me, I'm looking at you. And what I'm seeing is that if we had to go toe to toe with if we have to go, and I've got my people behind me, I've got my 3,091 people who are backing me right now. And we are strong, we are smart, we know how to think. In yours, I don't know if you'll be able to leave the bag of potato chips behind. I don't know that you've learned to walk on 2 feet. I don't know what the hell's wrong with you. But I want to tell you this. The way that they're trying to simplify this because they want to go to war. Okay? This is very symbolic of what's happening to our world as a whole. I don't believe that war should ever happen. I believe that we are an intelligent and advanced society that should be able to sit down with our leaders and figure out ways to make both sides feel like they've came out with a win without ever causing the loss of life. But there are the people who are unable to think in those ways, and they just want to beat their chests and say this is this and this is this, that this is white and this is black. And that kind of thinking is not something of an advanced and intelligent person. In fact, the kind of thinking that is that way, where they try to box me in or box others in, it is actually called dichotomous thinking. It is known as black and white thinking. And it is literally when your thought patterns assign people, things, and actions into one of two categories, the good or the bad. That black and white thinking is part of a group of thinking patterns called cognitive distortions, and it's sometimes called splitting. Okay, now I cited that from Psych Central, and you can do the same. You can Google and find black and white thinking, and it's literally going to show you that it's not normal. And it goes into cognitive distortions, and we go into cognitive dissonance. We go into all of those things, but we go into the cognitive. The cognitive is how you think, and basically it's saying here that the way that these type of people, the shiners, the one who want to put two groups and pit two groups of people in because they want it very simplified. They cannot have an intelligent discussion that explores many different areas and considerations of one subject. They are black and white. They are yes or no. They are right or wrong. They're very rigid. That works for certain things, but not others. Okay, we're just going to say that. So if we go further, and let me see here, if we go to an AI, the AI overview basically says here, the AI thinking, and it took something from Healthline, and it'll say black and white thinking, known as dichotomous or polarized thinking, is a cognitive distortion that involves seeing in extremes, all or nothing thinking. And I think that this case really shows that extremes, where they come at me and they're saying, are you saying he didn't? Are you saying she did? Okay. It goes on to say, for example, someone might think, I'm a brilliant success, or I'm an utter failure. Black and white thinking can affect your mood, relationships, ability to perform tasks, and your self-image. Think about those kind of people. Almost like bipolar. Where if they make one mistake, it's all or nothing, and it's like, oh my God, I suck, I'm a failure, oh my God, I need to go and just, or I'm wonderful. It's that. And they can split and they can switch. But when they want to argue something and they don't have anybody around them, what are they going to do? They're going to go to the internet, and they're going to find all this adulation and warm, fuzzy feelings from this huge group of people that thinks just like them. But when they go out into the real world, they don't belong. But in these weird ass groups right now, where they are trying to pit person against person, creator against creator, commenter against commenter and start fights, don't engage. It's not worth it. Just keep floating above until you find your people and you find the people that you agree with. Like I say, I'm promoting I Swear Kimberly's channel. I don't even know if she's still on. I just love her so much. I go back to her old videos. But I suggest her channel even though she does not think like me. Even though we would sit down at a table and have completely opposite ways of thinking. We might find a middle ground because she's capable of exploring more. As am I. I don't know if he did it. I don't know if she did it. If people are going to be saying, if these same people that are so black and white are going to say, he admitted it, he confessed. He also said she did it. Well, but they went to Wisconsin and did it. Do we have everything that was recorded from beginning to end on either his quasi-confession or in Wisconsin? How often have you ever had our tax dollars pay for federal investigators to go to outer Wisconsin? This isn't even near an airport. To get to Dodge Correctional, it is way out there, way out there. I have not interacted with Watts whatsoever. I don't think that he knows my name. I don't think people ask if I've talked to his parents. Nothing. No. They have a fully electronic system in their mail system. So anybody who writes them, it is all subjected to digital. You have to have a verified credit card with your address. They don't accept paper mail. They used to in the past. Yes, because I know people are like, because I saw this. No. So for at least the past couple of years, when I did look into writing him, it's all electronic. So you have to give your real name, verify your address, everything. And you know what that does? That allows those weirdos who are trying to find out who is writing him to see all of that as well, because that would be probably a matter of public record. And that's not anything I'm interested in. But as I am a Midwestern gal, I do go all over the Midwest. And I can tell you that where Dodge is, it's out there. Like his parents would have to, this is the thing, is that when he made the worst deal ever, I don't even know if you can call it a deal, they said that it was so that he would be in a prison closer to his parents. Well, they couldn't have made one more inconvenient. I'm going to tell you that. And oh God, you guys are going to say I'm a Watt sympathizer. No, there's considerations on all parts. And I do not believe that either grandparent did anything but love their grandchildren. And the whole idea that they did something else and whatever else, no. I've went through my videos, I've showed them all, and I've explained what has happened. And there are people who have such big pieces of misinformation, it's not even worth addressing. But his parents would have to get airline tickets to where in Wisconsin? I don't even know where in Wisconsin. But they would have to get airline tickets to somewhere in Wisconsin. I don't know if they go into Milwaukee. But then they'd have to rent a car and drive 2.5 to 3 hours. I mean, it's up there and there's nothing out there. It is in the middle of nowhere. And there are people who, good. As I said, if you're going to take what he said, then take everything that he said. He said that there were demons standing behind him. Is that believable? If he says that there are demons, let's do the flow chart. Let's do the black and white thinking. If you believe everything that Chris Watts said, first of all, he said that she did the girls and then he did her. Okay, whatever. We're not even going there right now. But he said there were demons behind him. What does that mean? As one of the people came straight up and said in my channel, they were probably said, are you saying that CW did not do this? And I stated, I do not believe that the case has shown me by the investigators as something similar to this. I do not believe that the evidence that the investigators have shown me has given me enough confidence to say that he did it. He did it alone. And he did it of a sound mind, body, and soul, which is the requirement for a sentence of life without the possibility of parole. I was watching Royal Pains. They have it on Netflix now. It's a great series. If you haven't watched Royal Pains, it's just a great thing to have on in the background. They filmed it in the Hamptons. The castle they filmed it at is the second largest house built in the United States. The castle, research it. It's got so much history. It's really cool. But they were talking about something, and I totally watched out. Because they said, they were just walking in. Oh, there was a news article. I think it was Marcia Gay Harding was on there. And she said, they tried it in the court of public opinion because they knew they would never get it passed in a court of law. They were talking about something that had happened, with a policy or whatever. But I rewound it and I'm like, whoa, that's amazing. And I think I think Paige or whatever said, is that a quote? And they're like, no, that's just this. So I'm giving credit to Royal Pains because I always give credit. I'm not the kind of person who steals other people's content for super chats, y'all. Speaking of which, I'm not allowed to get super chats or memberships or anything. But if one of you wants to Cash App me, I'd be greatly, greatly thankful. My Cash App is Tabitha Jane 13. There's a link to my Cash App in my my About Me. It should be showing right in there. And it's Tabitha Jane 13, and I would greatly value it so I could start my garden, my 2024 garden. Those of you who know that I always try to make a negative into the positive, so when I was doing a lot of Michelle content and kind of negative energy content, I took all of the money that I was getting from my channel, and I planted a beautiful garden, and the food that I made in my garden, I made content out of, and it lasted me until like last month. I made so many amazing things. So if you're so inclined to Cash App me, but I think that I might even title this one. They took exactly, just think of this concept as they took this case to the court of public opinion because it would never be successful in a court of law. Black and white thinking does not get a person very far in life or otherwise. Black and white thinking may be what you see in a complaint when you see a court case, as you will say this person versus that person, and then you will dwell into the complaints and the summons, and you will see the litigation going back and forth. Prior to any of that happening, there's a lot of legwork that goes on and seeing what will stick to the wall, if you will. Kind of like when people report everything that I've ever done and one or two things will stick and I get in trouble and lose my monetization. Anyway, I'm a little salty about it. That means that many of the things that the shiners use most may not even make it through the process of litigation. That some of the concepts here, like Nutgate, like Napgate, like even the quasi-confession, those things could be thrown out of court so that would not even be put in front of a jury. Many things are. If you take so Chris's supposed confession, whatever. Who were the demons? What is a demon? If you want to use Chris's words, use them. What I believe happened here is that these stickers placed on this man, when I first saw it, I thought that maybe he was malfunctioning and she double dosed him with these stickers because she wanted him to mow the lawn faster, do whatever he needed, the list. Maybe he was not finishing the list right. As this headline right here, he just wanted out. Oh yes, because this is a part of an interview, so of course, oh yes, he just wanted out because oh yes. Well, anyway, I thought that he was malfunctioning, so she put 2 stickers on him. But I have been informed that this is part of this duo burn, so that it's inflicting the substance on both the right and the left. Now, even with that being said, I do believe that people have said that she double dosed the duo. Nonetheless, what is in this? What is in these stickers that make you go, 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 go? That even NK said that without even trying, he just lost over 13 pounds. And she was getting into his macros and like looking at his like diet and everything, and like looking at like it doesn't make sense. And like men like totally like are in this group and they kind of do that, but with the macros and everything that she was like checking out, it didn't like make sense. So, you know, when they were like, well, was he using substance or anything? No, he wouldn't do anything like that. He's a dad. Okay, he was doing substance. This is a substance. Caffeine is a substance. Anything that you put in your body that does not allow your body to function as it would on its own is a substance. Substance does not have to be bad, as substance has a negative connotation. We'll say that. Nonetheless, the fuck is in those? Allegedly, after the unthinkable happened, the formulary composition of these was taken off the market. Allegedly. I can't prove that. There are other people who confirm that, and I don't have the information to show me that. There are people right now who will say, well, this is what's in them. We're looking at what was in them back when he was taking them. So we're going back a few years in this to say what was in them in the time that he was taking them. I think that it was a huge mistake, if you will, as to why was his blood not taken? I understand that there would be no reason, I guess, to have taken his blood, but I think that that's something that our future system could learn for, that if you are indeed suspected of, accused of, being looked at for being a person who unalived a person, let alone 3. And don't scream at me. And Nico, yes, 3, 4, okay. How about this? If you are suspected in taking the life of another, your blood and urine should be drawn so that then if there is a trial and there was something in your system that could help us to better understand what happened so that it doesn't happen again, should be done. How about if we call it I want to do something, on behalf of the girls, Bella's Law or then that's not including Cece, but, something, because, well, it would not, because then the people are like, are you saying that he should be free? Are you saying that he doesn't belong where he belongs? No, I'm saying that we have a system built in that even if you are guilty and you say you did it, there are guilty by reason of. You can still have an affirmative defense saying, yes, I did this, and this is why. And not that the why justifies it, but that the why comes through to better understand so that there is prevention in the future, because we are an evolved society that wants to understand things so that terrible things do not happen. Because we are not just people who think in black and white. It is my feeling, based on his testimony and others that say that he was not sleeping, that he had not slept more than 2 hours in months. I believe that I was able to track a 3-month period. So we can say, what would your brain be doing if you had not slept for more than 2 hours for months? If I lose sleep like that, for one day, I'm completely disordered and my sleep bank is off and I'll have to go and sleep for 18 hours. My body really likes to sleep. I can't get to sleep, but once I get into a sleep pattern, I do well. Sleep is an integral part of your body functioning. Your brain needs rest. Without sleep, many people say about a loved one or themselves, they say, without sleep, I'm a monster. Well, let's give that to the shiners and their basic smooth brain thinking. They say he's a monster, a monster, a monster. Maybe he was a monster who was not getting sleep. And you try this on anybody. I dare you. No, none of you will do it. Y'all know what it's like to have a man with a man cold. Go and make your man not get sleep for 3 months. Good luck. Good luck. How about if you give him a list to complete each day? And how about then if you send him to work every day to work as hard as he can so that he thinks that he's providing because that's what he wants to do for you and your daughters, his daughters. Maybe both are his. Anyway. And you make him do, there's all the stuff right now that are saying that he didn't do anything and she did everything. No, she made a point of telling everybody how she had everybody trained. That was because she was selfish and doing what she wanted to do. And what she wanted to do was live a lifestyle which was not conducive to having children or a marriage. And I know that that's going to be taken out and you guys are going to go tell your mommy. Go ahead. Because the whole story's there. And the mummy nor me live our lives in that way. We don't have everybody in our home trained, as she said, trained with their lists so that we can go and live a life separate of them and have everything be in order when we return. Because we love the people in our lives and we have an intimate connection with the people in our lives. We don't do that. And so when there's somebody who is doing something that is not thinking of others first, that's something that instead of making us think one way or another, we should come together and say, okay, so this was going on. So if this happened, what can we do so that then if we see somebody else doing that, we could make a difference so that the unthinkable never ever happens again? And work forward. This black and white thinking, trying to pit people against people so that the people who have profited by content for conflict can stop making their money off of the backs of innocent children, because that's what they are doing. It's mighty clear projection when they accuse somebody like me of trying to make money by bashing this when I don't make any money. Somebody said I was seeking fame the other day. I'm like, Jesus, how? How? Oh my God, I forgot for the bots. I need to say the fair use. Hold on. I I'm doing this video, and I'm referring to I Swear Kimberly's video here. Under the Fair Use Act and disclaimer in Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, where allowance is made for fair use using the four-factor balancing act test, which says that under fair use, a small portion of the original material will be used. New work is critique, satire, or education. The commercial value of its original is not diminished, and that new work is predominantly original product of the user, and I source that from emerging ed tech and Termly. So fair use, fair use, fair use, because I wanted to show you this. Okay, so I swear Kimberly had put this together really well. She did beautiful work. She had all of these clips together. And it says here that this video includes documentary footage, news clips, movie scenes, and clips from Dr. Oz from the 1-year anniversary in August 13th, 2019 to present in May 2020. So this had been made back then. Now this pinned comment states, Kimberly, hello, I hope you're doing well. This question I'm about to ask has bothered me for way too long. Do you or anyone else think it's wrong for anyone, to profit from the horrific murders of Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and Nico? I don't know why, but it gives me a bad feeling. Maybe because I know her family was adamant about anyone to profit from their murders. I would like to know what you and others think about this. Thank you for all of your work. Okay, and I say the M word like that because that alone can cause me to get in trouble with YouTube. So you're supposed to say unalive. You can't say the M word. Now, this is rich because not saying anything good, bad, or otherwise, but historically, factually, her family has profited exponentially. Now, is any amount of money going to undo what happened? No. But it is also questionable as to why they had life insurance on their grandchildren. Who does that? Who even forms that thought in their head? Because you don't even want to think that something like that could happen, but she had that life insurance on her grandchildren. Not the Watts. The Ruse. Shanann's mother had life insurance on the girls. That's proven. That's odd to me. That is not what I'm talking about when I'm talking about profiting. I am talking about the large amount of money that has came into their lives since this happened. And that is a fact. I'm not passing judgment. It is the truth. And to say that then the Watts should be subjected to getting jobs at McDonald's at this age, they lost too. They lost massively. They loved those girls. They were villainized and vilified from day one. It was imperative for her pretend world to create a Chris that she wanted. A Chris that was the perfect Teddy. Go back to my videos if you don't know what I'm talking about. In her pretend world, all of the people in her pretend world, in each little circus, in each little 3-ring circus, or however many rings she had in her circus, everybody had a role and everybody had a list. This is how she made her pretend world work. And if any one of them had outside influence, it may not work. She had to get rid of his parents very early. That is why they were not at the wedding, and that is why she pulled the Napgate, Napgate. Actually, Napgate is when the cover of the Twister was over the doll. So that's Napgate. Do we have 2 Napgates now in this saga? Maybe so. If this was a man controlling a woman, and this man took this woman away from her family of origin and did not allow her family even to be at the wedding, and convinced her to go bring their children and stage a fight like she did in Nutgate. What will we be saying about that man and that woman? The control here is the problem. The control is historically when we see a man controlling a woman and taking the woman away from her friends and her family. So when we have a woman here who took away the man from his family and staged fights with his family and took him away from his friends and took away the only job and the only passion that he knew and took away everything that he had so that he would fit in the mold that she needed him to be, to fit the image that she wanted. This is what we have here. Where does that place his parents in this? It does not put them in the role of being anything other than what they are, and they are victims. Now, if you want to argue that her parents are victims as well, I will absolutely concede, so we can both have a win here. It is common that the controller, the abuser, the psychopathic narcissist in the family is this one unit that runs everybody. And everybody else is in therapy. Everybody else is making all of these therapists rich. Because this one central person has driven everybody else crazy. This is what we have here. Are her parents victims of her? Yes. Are his parents victim of her? Yes. Did her parents know that something wasn't right? Yes. What'd they do about it? They moved in. That's not normal. For the duration of her marriage, she lived with the family that she was nannying for. And her parents were out there for, I believe is it 18 months? That's not normal. And somebody critiqued my video for me saying that the possible thing where I have of Chris getting the mail for the first time. They said, no, that's not true because she was gone for a long time before and he would have gotten the mail. No. Every time she was gone, she had her friends getting the mail. So that whole month when she was gone, she had different friends getting the mail. When her parents were there, she had them getting the mail. Christopher Watts was not allowed to see his own mail. He was not allowed to see his own bank account. When he was getting up every day, going to work, making that money that he thought he was making, he thought that he was making the money to keep a roof over his children's head and to feed them and clothe them as a provider would. She, because her pretend world with her pretend life, had a big price tag. So behind his back, she was using that money that she doubled him up with stickers for to go to work to make the money that then she bought her rank in the MLM. She's not a victim of an MLM. She victimized the MLM. And she victimized everybody in her upline and downline. She cheated. And that is the fault of that corporation for not enforcing their rules or watching. And she made statements that are against the Federal Trade Commission. The FTC could absolutely fine that corporation for the statements that she made. And for anybody making statements as such. You do not wear a substance of any kind when you are pregnant, and you do not say that the OB said so when you haven't even been to the doctor. Anybody who's been pregnant knows that they tell you not to even drink caffeine. They don't even let you eat tuna fish now. Can't have mercury or anything else like that. Like, don't they say no, God, even, like, is it even shellfish at this point? Like, because of the mercury? You're growing a human that has no choice. So you don't put a substance in. What the hell was in those stickers? She was wearing them when pregnant and putting hashtags out that, oh yeah, OB approved, midwife said so, Thrive Pregnancy. No, that's not true. I don't know why the shiners think it is such a concept to see that she's lying when she's obviously lying and hashtagging those lies. And we get back to this. Kimberly writes back to this person who says, no, I don't think it's wrong. It's been done forever. Anyone with an interest in true crime, anything you watch or read about a true crime, the person or people putting it together profit from it. It's the way they earn their living. Whether an author, YouTuber, someone on Facebook, the producers and actors that make the shows like 2020, Dateline, Forensic Files, and more, also Netflix, Oxygen, Headline News, or people reporting from your local news station. It may sound crude to profit, but that is what it is. The Roos are not the only family left behind after brutal murders that have a desire for it to stop. It will go on, and it's unrealistic of them to think they can stop it or that it will ever cease. We learn about people who commit these horrible crimes. Learning is growing and preventing. XO. This is why I love Kimberly. And her username, Kimberly Black and White TV. That's how it started. And then, like I say, her old videos, they're amazing. Absolutely. But her channel is called I Swear Kimberly. And like I say, it's up. I don't know if she's still doing it or not, but she has a great point. And so when you are somebody who makes your living as a reporter or a journalist, where you go and you create the story, you interview people, you investigate, and you put a story together to create news for other people to watch as their form of entertainment. If it is something that is an entertainment piece, or if it is something more, sad, that it is news, and that is that person working. There's a difference between somebody working, somebody writing a book is different. Now, Kimberly covers all of it and says that if somebody is working, they deserve compensation. So now the person says, that makes perfect sense in the way you explained it. Yes, people write about true crime every day. Now, she says, I hope the Watts doesn't profit. I hope Watts doesn't profit. I hope Watts doesn't profit. Okay, what? Because the way that she wrote it, I believe that it was implied his parents. But it's just improper English, so I don't know. And I don't think that CW assumes anything or wants anything. He just wants to be left alone like a frickin' turtle. He wants to put his head in the turtle shell and be left alone for nobody ever to talk to him ever again. He doesn't want to be bothered. He shut down. He did what he did to make others stop asking him questions. He told them what they wanted to hear so they'd go away. He was overstimulated, hadn't slept in God knows how long, and his brain wasn't functioning. So then one says, well, what about Wisconsin when he had been getting sleep and he's fine and he still said the same thing? Still said there was demons in the frickin' room. I don't know, something ain't right. When the prison psychologist went in and found that his IQ was 140, they assumed that he was functioning just fine. And I believe they went on. I believe they missed a huge opportunity to see what was going on. Because I think they might have missed Stockholm Syndrome. I think they might have missed battered spouse syndrome. I think that they might have missed that he's on the spectrum. It is my belief and my opinion that he is. Well, how does that justify him murdering his children? No. It's that he couldn't process emotion. So when something so overwhelming was going on and those tectonic plates were going on and an earthquake happened, what was going on below the surface that made him blow, if that's what happened? Was he sane? I don't know. Do sane people say that there's demons behind them? I don't know. Depends on who you talk to. And then somebody's asked about their Instagram account, blah, 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 because apparently Kimberly is tech support for Instagram. Anyway, and then this person with a doctor as their username says, excellent response. I wasn't sure if you were being baited into answering a question with which your answers would then be used against you. That doesn't seem to be the case here, but you never know. All right, good point, doctor. You give an honest, thought out, direct response, which holds true for anybody who directly or indirectly participates in the subject of true crime to any capacity. Well done. No period. You want to put a doctor in front of your name, and then you make a sentence that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 commas. And then the next one then, I don't know if you're a doctor. I don't know what you're a doctor of, but I have a problem with you. And when I'm doing my responses to, I do run-on sentences, but I don't claim that I'm a doctor or anything, and I'm just me. Because the doctor pisses me off, and I'm going to tell you why. Because then the doctor says, CW is legally unable to benefit financially from the murders because Colorado enforces the son of Sam law. His parents say they don't want to benefit financially either, but they also fought Shanann's family in court because they believed they should get the life insurance payouts that CW had on each of them through Anadarko. Okay, that's one way to twist the truth, doctor. Because then doctor goes on to say they, in caps, literally took her parents to court and fought for money that was paid out because their son murdered their daughter. Okay. No. I did a video. My common response for most things is I did a video on that because all of these things that were put out there, I went and looked at them and looked at the truth and looked at all sides of it to say, how can you expect the Watts to work after what they've been put through? From the moment that their son was put under her control, and the world, well, not many people even know about the Watts, but when I look at this, and somebody just put in my comments the other day that Chris's mom tried to unalive Cece. And as you may see in my comment section, I stopped all comments and said, let's us all stop and listen and watch as you tell us how. Because I have a video for that. It didn't happen. Anyway. No need to wonder why he's so screwed up. Gee, doctor. Is that your official diagnosis? There are always loopholes to laws, though, for example, Sherlin Cattlecrap was supposed to donate a percentage of the book sales from letters from Christopher to his legal fund for his appeals. Okay. She didn't because she's untrustworthy scum too, but still. Period. So, in capitals, starting a sentence. Shanann's parents won a wrongful death civil suit against CW, requiring him to pay $6 million. Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's not put this buried in here. Let's not give somebody an almond roca, tell them it's an almond roca, when actually it's a cat turd covered with cat litter, because I'm going to tell you, that's what you just did in this thing, trying to cover it by calling yourself a doctor, ma'am. Because that's what this is. This is a cat turd covered in cat litter. It's not almond roca. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay? Let's preface this. Let's go with that. And let's say, you know what? No, it wasn't his parents doing anything. In fact, her parents went and won a $6 million lawsuit against him. So let's talk about who's trying to profit, if we want to call it profit. Rather, let's call this a crime victims compensation fund, of which it is, because I don't think that any of the grandparents need to be dealing with anybody in the public at large, because they don't understand. And all of them across the board have PTSD from what has happened to them, and what a great loss they have all suffered. But I don't see the Watts building an outdoor kitchen with a pizza oven, do you? I don't see them carrying on in an MLM that was nothing but a ruse. See what I did there? Anyway. Those ruses. Anyway, let's see here. They knew then, as they know now, that he will never be able to pay them, but that's not why they did it. Jesus, doctor, where'd you get your degree? You're so articulate. Until he pays them $6 million, any amount of money he makes will go to their parents. Go to her parents. Isn't that just great? Even if he does find a way to profit financially from the murders, that money will go to Shannon's parents up to $6 million. Why? Oh, here she says, it's an insurance policy that for them that ensures he doesn't earn $1 by capitalizing on the murder of their daughter and grandchildren. It's also partially why they haven't sold the Watts house yet. Bullshit! That house was going into foreclosure because she was not making the payments. She was not making the HOA payments. That was a quick one that he found out about because HOAs are very aggressive. You don't pay them, they will go for pushing the sale of the house to get what they are owed because they don't. Okay, here we go. I'm going to explain this. An HOA has laws and bylaws of which you must follow in the community so that your neighborhood doesn't go to shit. Okay, so that means you can't have an RV parked on your lawn, cars parked on your lawn. You need to mow your lawn, or if the community has the lawn done, you need to have things off of your lawn so it can be done, etc., etc. So what if somebody says, I'm a sovereign citizen and I'm not going to pay these HOA fees, even though I signed all the contracts when I bought the house. It said that I would. I'm not going to pay you anymore. I'm not going to pay you this $106 a month. You can go and fly a kite, and I'm not going to do that. You know what? I'm not going to cut my lawn either. So then that one house isn't getting their garbage picked up because maybe that's part of it. They're not letting their lawn get cut. So that one house in the neighborhood is bringing down the value of the surrounding homes. Okay? It's just an example of what HOAs do and why this is a concern. So the HOA will say, okay, you're not going to follow the laws of this HOA. You need to move, and we're going to go and put litigation towards the house to force the sale of the house so that we get our compensation as the HOA in that house goes. That's what was happening in Chris and Shanann's house, because not only was she not making the mortgage payment, she was not making the HOA payment. The HOA was a little bit more aggressive than the mortgage holder itself. Now, we don't know if she was making little arrangements with the mortgage. We don't know if the ruse was rusing and they were throwing a little money at it or whatever to keep Chris from knowing. HOA wasn't playing. So the HOA was taking them to court the week after the unthinkable happened. That court date was coming up. And when Shanann's mom was questioned about it, Shanann's mother said, that is for a private family issue that they have been dealing with. People then said, oh my God, a private family issue. That means it's CPS and whatnot. There is nothing corroborating a CPS thing, but that would be confidential. I cannot confirm or deny that. That is a theory that's out there that people can think. I can't prove it. What I did is, of course, as you know, I got the proof of what was going on in that courthouse at that time, and that was the HOA taking them to court. Shanann had told Chris that, well, what do you know? She'd been sending the HOA payment to the wrong damn address. If that was true, the first or second time that they notified her, she would have said, well, here's all the money that would have been there, because that money would still be in the account, right? If you're sending it to the wrong place. And that would have been rectified before they had taken action to go and take them to civil court to force the sale of the house. She knew that was happening, and she knew that Chris was probably going to find out that the mortgage wasn't paid. That's why I believe it is my moving theory that she had no intention of ever coming back to Colorado. That when she went and planned the 6-week tour to North Carolina back with her parents and whatever, I don't think she was ever coming back. That's why she staged the fight with the Watts. She didn't want to be dealing with the Watts because that was going to be the ex-husband's family very soon in her mind, because she was moving on. She had left a disaster in her past. She had left a dumpster fire in Colorado and ran to North Carolina. When her big plans for North Carolina didn't turn out, and her new Chris did not behave like the other Chris that she had made, and this new Chris said, you might be fun on vacation, but I'm not leaving my wife for you. Sorry that you're leaving your husband for me, but I'm not doing that for you. Allegedly, in my opinion, in my working theory of why this happened. So, the house is going into foreclosure. There was no equity in that house. The bank owned it. So, doctor, while you're saying that it's partially why they haven't sold the house yet, who hadn't sold the house? But we saw that in the jail, Chris signed everything over to her dad. Yeah, because there were things that needed to be done. The furniture needed to be taken out, the utilities transferred, whatever. And Frank, Shanann's dad, was the one who could be put in charge to get the responsible things done that needed to be done. And he went and he met Chris in jail, and Chris signed over all the papers to give him essentially legal power of attorney to get what needed to be done then. The Watts did not own her house. Now, did they in name possibly? Was it still in their name and all of everything that went on with the bank and whatever? Maybe so, but there was no equity in it. So to say, doctor, that's why they hadn't, if there was equity in that home and there was money that still needed to come out of that house and whatever, why wouldn't they have? And number one, no one was moving into that family because no one was moving into that house because of what had happened. It is my disappointment that the bank that essentially had the rights to that house, the bank had that through the pandemic. That also affected why the house hadn't sold. Why didn't the bank do the right thing? And the word is raze, R-A-Z-E, when you take a house down and you bury it, and make it there. Why didn't the bank raise that house, put in a beautiful playset, and dedicate it to the girls and all of the children of the neighborhood, so that all of the neighbors and everybody else who's secondarily affected in the whole community and people, why didn't they do that? So there was a place where people could commune and put good energy there, and then have the name of that bank be there and say, this is brought to you by this bank, and we're here for all of your community financing needs. Why was that not done? If the Watts had any command over that house, they had made so far over and above what that house would have been worth. Why didn't the Watts have that done? Well, maybe because the bylaws of that community and that master plan community wouldn't allow that. Well, then that's why you go to city council and you get it changed on behalf of what had happened there. But people don't want traffic there and people, coming in and acting like it's a tourist attraction. Well, they do it anyway. But anyway, doctor, I think our discussion is done. No, somebody has to engage the doctor. Here we go. Thank you. I was really confused about this. I appreciate you explaining this one to me. I couldn't fight for that insurance money. Yes, they lost their son, but still they get phone calls and visits. Shanann's parents get to visit a cold stone. Beautiful, but still stone. I believe this case will always be with me. I sure many people feel the same! Exclamation mark after all these ... It was just so evil. Remember in Cindy's interview when she said Chris was a perfect child and he never rebelled? Space. Not once. Quotation marks. That really gave me chills. Yes, I seen so many red flags. Again, thank you so much. XOXO. Okay, when a person uses the word seen and they say, I seen something, I just can't. And so, ma'am, what red flags did you see in Christopher Watts growing up? Let's go ahead and break this down. Okay, because you're one of those people who thinks he's a child-eating monster just sitting there in the basement waiting. And if he was, why did he not go and gobble up all of the children at the birthday party the day before? If he had this rumbling to just go and gobble up all children because he was just a child killer from day one, because you saw all the red flags, why didn't he do it the day before? And the Shiners will say, well, that's what whet his appetite. Most Josh Powell and oh God, I can't remember the other one. Of the ones that are family annihilators will have a psychological background that there was something that happened before the age of 15, and then when they went through puberty. They were doing things that were not normal with their peers during adolescence. Of course, you've got, the sociopath dyad, got the setting fires, bedwetting, cruelty to animals, all of that stuff. None of that was Chris. He played football. He had one good friend. He caused nobody any problems. So what red flags did you see, ma'am? You say because his mom said that he was a perfect child and he never rebelled? And that was what gave you chills, ma'am? Why would it give you chills if a mother describes their son as a perfect child who never rebelled? There's no history of rebellion whatsoever, ma'am. Why would that give you chills? Do boys playing football scare the shit out of you, ma'am? What red flags was there in Christopher Watts? I'm waiting, ma'am. You saw them, ma'am. Where are they? He grew up in a normal, loving family. Now, as we get in and we break things down, Ronnie had a little problem with Blow. Ronnie mumbles. Okay? So he's a mumbler. And he had a little problem with Blow. A little toot problem. But who's to say the other side didn't? Because running that dirty South lifestyle, you gotta be high-paced. It wasn't Chris who was rebelling. Does it give you chills that Shanann did? We have proof that Christopher Watts graduated high school, was a part of high school. We don't have that for the other, ma'am. Does Cindy just look and say, Chris had freakishly strong legs? Like Shanann's father says when talking about... Thank you, I'm Watson. When talking about Shanann, how would her father know that his daughter has freakishly strong legs? When talking about that, we know that Shanann's mother slapped her. It is rumored that Shanann did not graduate from high school. It is rumored that. It is rumored that she was having relations with a teacher. It is rumored that. It is rumored that when her mother found out, she slapped her and kicked her out. That is a rumor. So you have these two people. One has no history of it. The other has that history. The other has the history of being accused of financial crimes and otherwise. The one has a proven history of lying. The other doesn't. You have two very different people here. One that is accused of lying, embezzling, rebelling, having affairs. And that's the female in this, which would customarily be the male if you're talking about this kind of history and red flags. So Christopher Watts grows up. Yes, his father, and it's rumored that his father was so close to Chris that basically when Chris started growing up and the empty nest thing that's when Papa Ronnie got a little problem with the Blow. But I don't know. His family is good and honest. No accusations of anything from anybody at any time ever. Her family, not so much. She had a husband who accused her of having problems and tried to take her to therapy, and we all know what happened there. So she is divorced. She comes in and has a history of embezzling, but whatever. I'm divorced too. It doesn't matter. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying if you want to compare histories and say that Chris Watts's growing up gave you chills and you saw all the red flags, I'd like to see them, ma'am. These are the kind of comments that go in, and I look at them and I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And then these are the kind of people that go to the Shiners and they bring this misinformation in there. And they say that, oh yeah, well, so what? It was the Watts and they were greedy and they were trying to get all this money and they took everybody to court and they did this on the insurance. No, Look at the big picture. Look at who went after the money first, and who had a plan for getting the money. Who foresaw this coming? Who said they had a dream about it? And that dream prompted them to go and get life insurance? What the is that? I had a dream this was going to happen, so I went and got life insurance because I'm betting it's going to happen. Yeah, I was living in that house for 18 months, and I'm going to tell you something ain't good. I'm going to tell you that something's going to happen to my grandchildren. I'm going to put money on it. That's what that was. Starting to see those red flags? I am. And it's not about Chris's adolescence at all. It's not about Cindy Watts saying that Chris never rebelled, because he didn't. He finished high school. His mom and dad got the money that they could together. They were not people of wealth, and they didn't have the kind of money that they needed to support what Chris wanted to do. And Chris wanted to go to NASCAR racing car school. So they got together and they got the money they could, and they put him through racing car school. And with that, he did what he loved. And he went to racing car school, and he was a mechanic and happy. And he didn't want or need anything. He wasn't bothering anybody. What about that's a red flag? When she came in and was introduced to him, she didn't think he was great. But she put her head on his lap because she wasn't feeling good. This is when she was, having all of the somatic symptoms for all of the stress she was under for being accused of embezzling and having to give up everything she knew and run to Colorado and try to change her name. And she decided that Chris could fit that bill. She could make him into what the last Teddy wouldn't be. She was always trying to form a new Chris, wasn't she? I guess it was imperative that you had the first name. Beyond that, she could work with it. She even took away what he loved. Being a mechanic didn't fit that new Teddy role. How was she going to tell everybody that she's living this lifestyle and she's got this, hot husband? She's the one who said he was hot, not me. Not my type. I like him fat and bald. I'm telling you that. Anyway, does anybody remember the Sonics Coach Carl in Seattle? My God, I had the biggest crush on him. Fat, bald man. He passed away of cancer. May he rest in peace. But that man I thought was very attractive. And so anyway, these comments just kill me on her channel, because then it says, the next one is, how could someone be so cold-hearted as to harass Shanann's family? That poor family has suffered enough pain and agony. They're the ones truly serving the life sentence. What about the what? Who's harassing Shanann's family? Show me somebody who's harassing Shanann's family, and I'll call bullshit every day. No one is harassing Shanann's family. I've already given the whole backstory and what that was all about, and that was all based in YouTube. And those of you who know about I don't even want to repeat it right now. But nobody was harassing Shanann's family. Shanann's family has not been cyberbullied. Why would they be? In closing, as you all just heard, the well-trained man with his list just brought me dinner. And I had to explain to him I was still watching. Basically, we have to say that this is not black and white thinking. That there's something so much deeper here, that we didn't know the full consequence of what was going to happen until it happened. But I can tell you that her parents knew that there was something going to happen. Are they victims of her? Yes. Are the Watts victims of her? Yes. Let's not forget there's a lot of people hurting here. And to continue to vilify one is not okay. As you all see me standing here, getting ready to be stoned in town square, burned at the stake as usual, because I speak the truth. It's That's my fatal flaw, as you all know. As somebody wrote in there, don't get killed for speaking the truth as I am right now, because there's a lot of people who don't like what I'm doing. But you know what? I am a standing example of what would have happened if anybody would have questioned Shanann. Because right now, I'm doing it. I'm questioning Shanann. I am the standing example of what happens when you question a narcissist. This is not new. Anybody who's dealt with a pathological narcissist knows this is what happens. The person that questions them will be singled out, vilified, absolutely stoned in town square, burned at the stake. There's one pivotal, toxic person that creates a world around them that will not allow anybody to question them. When you see somebody react disproportionately to being questioned, you will know that that is that person in that family's life. You all know them, and you have it here. And like I say right now, on the Reddit thread that it's called the Watts Free for All, very good discussion thing. Right now we've had a lot of people go and try and tell mommy on me because they don't like what I'm saying. So I posted a picture right now of Bella trying to cram a toy up her butt, because that's what was normal in that household. In fact, Shanann would hashtag it. You have sweet little Bella doing everything she can to cram this toy up there. And she is bent over, and you can see her little head upside down trying to cram this thing up there. And you've got Shanann hashtagging it. What I walked into when temperatures become routine. And you have your simple people saying, oh, she's just imitating what her mom was doing. Well, is her mom going around cramming things up around? Because that's not normal. There is no illness on the planet in which a doctor would tell you to take both of your daughters, not just one, and rectally take their temperature every night. And let's add this to it. You stand there while the parent of the opposite sex of the child is, as she said, using lots of Vaseline, lots of lube, on said thermometer. And you stand behind that parent of the opposite sex doing that and you film it. The hell. It is, of course, as you all know from listening, my position that she was setting him up to blackmail him to say that he was doing something inappropriate with those girls. It's not normal. People are like, well, I don't understand why a doctor would have told. No doctor told her to do it. No. If you want to get into it, that is actually something that stimulates peristalsis. Peristalsis is when the muscles in your intestine promote you to have a bowel movement. So in nursing, if somebody can't, then you can essentially do that with a glove to the person and promote peristalsis. So in the bigger situation here, I'm going to explain to you what was really happening. She was doing that so that at night they would have a movement so that then they would sleep the 12 hours and not crap in the night. That's what was going on. Okay? If not intentional, it is what was going on. Because that's what causes that to happen. It's a cause and effect, just like everything else here is causation and whatever. So, there was no doctor saying, because she was trying to say that, oh, the doctor suspects familial Mediterranean fever, FMF. No. So if a doctor was suspecting that, out of one, it would be very unusual to have two. She kept acting like the two were the same. Oh, the two supposedly had their adenoids and ear tubes put in the same day, but yet there's no proof of either, and she was given dry cereal. Don't even get me started on that. Okay. She was trying to act like the two girls were the same, because acting like the two were the same was part of the pretend world, because to give each their own identity and each their own special needs was not in the plan of the list in the way that things needed to be run. They each, and the shiners will be, where'd you come up with this? Well, it's a deduction of reasoning. Look at what she said herself. And look and think about what that means. Don't just put the smiley face on it. Look and think about what that means. Would you like to have your temperature taken rectally every day? Would you do that to your child? Would you have a parent of the opposite sex doing that to your child? Will you stand behind and film every night? Hand them the jar of Vaseline? I don't think so. And if you did, there's something wrong with you. Why would they have familial Mediterranean fever? There are people that say that her former boss was Mediterranean, and there are people who say that his child had it, but it's not like it's contagious. And yes, she's Italian, I'm Italian, but I can tell you, out of all of my 6 kids, not once did any doctor ever recommend or suggest they had FMF. They just had fevers like kids have all the time because they're building their immune system. But because she kept them so much in their little glass shelves and put away for 15 hours a day, Flowers in the Attic, / Baby Wise, whatever book she wanted to say taught her how to raise children, it was that. These were her cockamamie ideas. Rectal thermometers, they're, sure. Somebody's going to say, well, I was told that it's the only accurate. Yeah, that's the core temperature. So when you have somebody who has they've been out in the cold and you need a body core temperature, sure, it's the way that it was. It can be done. But to do it to little girls every night as a routine, saying that you're charting it because the doctor wants to know. No doctor wanted to know. She kept firing doctors, going to doctors. How many different doctors did she go to in the short amount of time she had the girls? More times than I went, having all 6 kids for 35 years, and one of them having cerebral palsy. I'm going to tell you that. Because I actually took care of my kids. And I didn't try to make them think that they were sick. And even my kid with cerebral palsy, he didn't know. He wasn't treated any different. So he succeeded. And he knows things, and he does things that kids his age can't even do. Because I optimized his potential. Because that's what you do as a mother. You put their needs first, not yours. I didn't even leave my 3 youngest. I didn't leave them alone once until my twins were 18 and a half. There was not one time when either my husband or me was not home. I went out of town just a couple of times, but my husband was home. But there was no circumstance in which I went on a vacation for pleasure. Not until they were 18 and a half. So this whole thing of making it all black and white, let's think about it. Let's think about what disordered thinking that is. And let's not let those children who are at the kids' table who want to go tell mommy on me win. Let's keep this conversation going at the adult table where it is. And let's call out abhorrent, abusive behavior as it is. Does that mean that she deserved to be murdered, as they say? No. Does it mean that Bella and Cece deserve that treatment? No. And they fail to realize that Bella and Cece were being mistreated every day. Don't they matter? Doesn't their treatment matter? But is the punishment for that murder? No. But is it okay to just let it go because you don't want to question anybody and you think that somebody's too beautiful to question? No. So was it right to vilify the Watts because of this? No. Stop all of the dysfunctional behavior just because you're not mature enough to understand it yourself. Back the fuck up and start making rights out of the wrongs. Stop vilifying the Watts. And with that, I will close. And indeed, I will title this, They took it to the court of public opinion because it would have never won in a court of law. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe, like, and if you're so inclined, buy me coffee on my Cash App at Tabitha Jane 13. Thank you. Bye-bye.